Cut.
Okay. Hello and welcome to That Is Nice. I'm here with, you didn't know he existed, but it's Nolan. In real life, he's not just a bot. And you.
Yes. And I apologize for not wearing a button down for anyone who may be offended. I'm sorry.
Microaggressed.
Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, who are you?
I like to wear sweatshirts. I don't like to wear button downs.
Let's start with your name.
Owen.
Owen.
I don't like to wear button downs.
Owen doesn't like to wear button downs.
Since when?
Kind of forever.
Because
I've always against it.
So the days I've seen you in button downs before.
Yeah.
So he's either lying
or
he just does it and doesn't like doing it for some reason. Why would you wear them if you don't like doing it? So he's lying.
Yeah, he's got to be lying. Because I've seen him multiple occasions.
You're getting interrogated right now, so you're kind of wasting our time. You haven't told us anything we don't know.
Yeah. So is your name really Owen? Is that?
It is.
Is that even real?
That's true.
Can I see your ID?
No. I plead the fifth.
Okay.
You can't. You took that away.
No, I do.
You don't get it.
No.
Not in this house.
He doesn't get it.
I plead the fifth.
My house, my rules.
Anyway.
So, I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of think that computers predate when we think they predate.
Okay.
So, what does a computer do? What do you think a computer does?
Computes.
What's its main function? Yeah.
Computes.
Yep. That's like saying, what does a baseball bat do and saying it bats.
Bats.
What? Okay. So, a computer will take small forms of information, like the ones and zeros, the binary, and convert it into something that is comprehensible to people. All right. So, crazy idea here. So, wouldn't DNA kind of be a form of binary? And then, wouldn't nutrients also be a form of binary? Because if you plant a seed of a tree in the ground, out of nothing, it makes this thing that we can comprehend, a tree. So it takes those nutrients, converts them into a tree. So it computes into a tree with the information it has in its nucleus of all the plants.
So I think if you took it a little bit more, like, instead of theoretically, and you took it more, what's the word? Like exact. What's the other word for exact? Like
literally.
Literally, yeah, that's what it is. If you took it more literally, I think a computer's more like it's like a man-made type thing, right? And it's used to function out different things.
Is it?
I think binary, it follows a pattern and it's consistent, but when you're talking about DNA, I feel like it's random and it doesn't follow a pattern.
DNA is consistent.
Although I'm not sure.
Humans have 97% similar DNA. That 3% is what makes us look
Sure,
different.
but it's random DNA. It doesn't follow a specific pattern.
It's not random because you get things from your mother and your father.
Right, but binary can be
It's
interpreted.
not, but it's
it
not.
can be comprehensible.
So can DNA. Like they can do DNA testing to see if you were.
I know,
like
but binary is
23andMe.
more like a language, and DNA is more just like data that you can.
Binary is data. You store data in binary. Everything on your computer is data, and everything that's stored on your computer is binary. Making it data,
sense.
you know. So a tree just kind of.
It's different. It's a little bit different. Though.
How though? How?
I feel like
Try not to
DNA...
spill this on the computer.
Oh yeah, I was trying to spill it on the computer.
Did everybody see that?
I was trying to spill it on the computer.
All night.
Oh.
How's it different? A computer just converts all of this language we can't understand into something we can understand.
But you can't read a tree.
You can read the DNA makeup of a tree.
Oh.
The same way they can tell
How old
what
a
are
tree
you?
is.
Where are you like?
Binary
Irish?
is made to interpret. DNA is not made to interpret. DNA is made to.
Binary is made to
DNA
interpret?
is not made to understand anything. It's just DNA.
But that's not true because we
didn't
can't-
make DNA.
They do.
We are DNA. Like.
Yeah, DNA is the binary language that made us. It tells our cells what to do. Just like
binary is deliberate. People make binary to tell a story. DNA does not do.
Who made DNA?
No,
just exists.
Whenever you like,
it's just there.
Whenever you try to, make love with a woman, you're not trying to figure out the DNA strands you want to inject inside of her. Like, you don't make it.
See, on the same page.
No, I'm just trying to say it's like it's not deliberate. is what I like. It's not at all. Like,
so one's natural, one is artificial.
Exactly. Yeah. Pretty much.
Therefore, a tree is not a computer.
Okay, but nobody says a computer is a man-made thing. Like your brain's a computer.
I think Wikipedia might.
Well, if Wikipedia says it, then we should just end this right now.
All right. Well, that was it.
No, but dude, your brain is a computer. Your brain functions identical to a computer. Like the neurons, when you remember something, when you remember that childhood trauma that you have from that thing that happened to you that you always cry about every day, when you remember that, a certain sequence of neurons all fire at once. What's that similar to? That's similar to an algorithm. And what does a computer use to actually etch those ones or zeros onto the hard drive?
Okay, I see.
Electrons.
So
your brain uses electrons. A computer uses electrons.
Do you think maybe somebody who understood these concepts were the ones kind of like trying to create the man-made computer we know as today, like the actual computer? You think they understood all of the neurons and electrons and DNA strands, and they studied that and was like, oh, hey, we could probably make this into like a physical thing that we can actually touch?
So somebody made the tree a computer?
No, somebody studied the tree and then made the computer.
First, I think we have to get this. What does computing mean? Computing means taking all of this random nonsense that's just all scattered about and making it into something that we can comprehend and understand. Because you could have a bunch of little squares. Like if you got a piece of graph paper and you just color it in a bunch of little squares randomly, there's 10 squares. There's nothing. But then if you organize those squares into a smiley face, okay, now you have something that we can comprehend. I don't think 10
squares could actually fill a smiley face, though.
But that's minor details.
I mean, not if you're trying to make a smiley face.
30 squares.
There you go. Now continue.
Now, the same thing just with 30 squares. Right? So that's what a computer is. That's what a computer does. It takes chaotic information and just organizes it.
Is it chaotic, though?
Yes.
Is it?
It's taking a large quantity
of information,
of data
that makes no sense, and
telling a story with it.
Yes.
And it organizes it, and it's accessible in a certain manner that you want to be able to.
So I don't understand. How does a tree do that?
Okay, the same way a computer does, because...
No, forget the computer. How does a tree do that?
I'm trying to make a point.
Okay, continue.
The same way a computer does. So if you okay, Nolan, if you take a picture and you save it onto your computer.
Yes.
That doesn't save on your hard drive as a picture. It saves onto your hard drive as a bunch of ones and zeros. Okay?
Okay.
So it saves it in something called bits. Okay? And it'll be like, oh, this is like 86,000 megabits, this image. Okay? And then what your computer does is it
organizes.
It sends a magnetic pulse either for a 1 or a 0 to each little grain on the hard drive, and then that will make up the picture. But how does it know what the picture is? Something will read it when you want to pull that picture back up a week later. It'll read it, and then it'll put it back on your screen, making something that we can comprehend from something that we couldn't. Because if you look at a hard drive, you're not going to see the picture if you just look at a hard drive.
Right.
Just like a tree. If you look at a seed,
you're going to see a tree.
You're not going to see a tree.
Foliage,
but
nothing.
The coding's in there. The coding to make a tree is in that seed, just like the coding to pull up that picture is in the hard drive.
Yeah, but you're comparing data to data. I mean, data is just data.
I'm saying
it's
tree
zeros
is like
or ones or it's DNA. I mean, to understand something, there's data and there's data, but it doesn't necessarily mean that data is data.
Yeah.
It's just data.
I don't get that. You just said data.
It's zeros or ones or it's DNA.
Right.
And just because you understand something by breaking it down into its smallest parts doesn't mean it's the same thing.
Okay, what is DNA made of?
I don't know. I'm not
strands of something.
What is everything made of?
Atoms.
Atoms. Now, what's in atoms? Electrons, protons, neutrons. All of that, like the stuff you store on your computer on the hard drive is made of atoms. Mm-hmm. The stuff that makes DNAs is made of atoms. So,
I think it's just the whole fact that it's deliberate. That's all.
What do you mean by deliberate?
Like the computer was deliberately made.
No, I know, but I'm saying that the tree could be a form of a computer because it does the same thing. It processes information.
I don't know about a form, but I think a similar subject as a computer.
I would say a form. It computes something we don't understand into something that we can see and comprehend, just like pulling up a picture.
Example.
Just to prove it, I think it stands. In my point. I mean, how couldn't it? That's exactly what a computer does.
Computes. Yeah.
It's a stupid point, and you guys can't even prove it wrong because you're stupid. Just kidding. You're not stupid, Nolan. You're not.
Pause.
But isn't that a good? Isn't that kind of like?
That's
I thought of that the other night. I thought of that the other night.
It's interesting
like,
to talk about.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of talk about.
It's hard to disprove.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to disprove. Yeah.
Without knowing a ton about it.
Because, I mean, if you literally took it literally, then it's not a computer. It can't be a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you...
When you
looked
think
at
of a
it
computer, you just think of something electronic that
Right.
brings up information.
Because if you look at the definition of a computer,
But it
then it's
doesn't
all
say-
man-made. Like...
But it doesn't say anything about it being man-made. It doesn't say it. A computer is just something that computes.
No, it's a device that humans have created. We've never created.
Your cortex computes.
Yeah, but we didn't.
We call it a brain.
I mean, you compare.
It's a different
compare
name.
Nolan to a cat, and obviously they're made of the same things. They have organs, and they have different. They have a brain.
So I'm a
they have
cat,
skin.
is what you're saying.
No.
And so they have the same information.
No, because I'm talking about the
and
process.
they're probably very similar in the ways they're.
No, because I'm talking
they're
about
made,
I'm
but
talking
they're
about
not the same thing.
So it's the same process. If a cat gets kicked, it gets hurt. If I get kicked, I'm get hurt.
But that doesn't
Therefore,
mean
you're a
they're the
cat?
same
It's
thing.
like the same pain impulse shoots to your brain, and then it's like it all stimulates everything.
Yeah, your brain
right?
processes that you're in pain.
Right.
You're in pain, just like a computer.
I
So
just
I'm
think
a
you're
cat.
comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh, so
Or
you
apples
agree?
to pears.
I think you
So
have.
you're saying they're the same? So
No, that's
agree.
not what I'm saying.
Apples to oranges means it's like
No, apple is different from an orange.
Yeah, Jake, learn your fruits.
I know my friends.
You're saying they're the same.
But no, but what? How is
No,
it?
an apple is not an orange.
But you are
If I
just.
thought they were the same, I'd say apples to apples.
But you're just saying they're not the same. You can't explain why they're not the same.
I did.
Yes.
I said.
You said I'm
Multiple
comparing.
times.
Binary is not deliberate, and DNA. No, binary
How do you know
is
DNA?
deliberate.
How do you know
sorry.
DNA is deliberate?
No, I messed up what I was saying.
How do you
I
know
said
it's not
DNA
deliberate?
is not deliberate.
How do you know that? How do you know
Okay,
DNA isn't
that's
just a
like
binary?
saying. Well, that's like saying if God is real, how do
Yeah.
you not know if he's real? Like,
Well,
so
how do
who
you-
deliberated
yeah, like
DNA?
Yeah, so that would be like.
A god? Is that what you're saying?
So you're basically
Jesus.
saying, yeah.
But no, who? Okay, that still doesn't really disprove it. I don't see how that could disprove it. I just don't see how that you saying who created DNA, a god, who created binary, a person. Okay.
Yep.
But
Exactly. That's the
Yeah,
point.
exactly. Someone created binary to be able to interpret. So many people get to interpret binary.
The tree
And
was
it's
there.
broken down into its smallest parts, zeros and ones.
what is information? What do you consider to be information?
Information
Yeah.
is a collection of data. Data is broken down into its smallest parts, and it's interpreted into information.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how does it get interpreted? Is you process it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what could be defined as data? Just anything that provides you with something you can
Yes,
make
a
information
tree can
of.
process
Yes.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you agree. You're agreeing.
There's
This
just,
is the thing. You guys are agreeing.
Yeah.
You're saying points that disagree, and then
What
you
are
go,
we? What
you
are we
agree.
disagreeing on?
You're not.
What are we?
You're like
What are
So
we-
what are we agreeing on?
a tree is like a computer. A
like
tree is a computer.
It's like it, but it's not a
Not it.
computer. Right.
It
You
computes.
I'm
like
like
a
a
computer.
cat,
You
but
can
I'm
compare
not
many
a cat.
things,
Do
but
you
in many instances, it's not
Do
as
you-
well.
Do you?
Just like it's like it, it's like
but what
it's
are those
not.
instances?
It's like it's
what are
saying-
those instances? Okay, other than the fact they're physical form.
Deliberation.
Deliberation. Okay.
Yes.
Explain. No, explain it. I'm
He
saying.
literally
I think we
does
just
this,
did
like,
that.
6 times.
But you're not doing it like well.
Nobody deliberately created a tree so it could accumulate data and be able to tell a story with it.
How do you know this isn't a simulation? How do you know that?
Okay,
that's a
okay,
different
you know
story.
what?
but
You know what? We don't
That's-
know anything.
That's merging from the point, Jake.
But you're
Someone
taking.
created binary
But
so
you're
you can
you're
interpret it.
but you're accepting like
It's a
hypotheticals
pattern.
as
It's a
facts.
pattern.
You're accepting hypotheticals
Binary
as
is a
facts.
pattern.
Yes, so is DNA. And I'm saying it's the same.
But it's not deliberate. Nobody created
deliberate. But
DNA.
why does that deliberate point matter? A computer does not mean something man-made.
Because it's different.
A computer means something that
You're
computes.
asking why it's different.
No, a computer is something that computes.
Yes.
Okay, your brain computes, correct?
But you're asking the difference between DNA and binary. That's
No, I'm
different-
not. I'm saying a
different
tree is a
concept.
computer. You're saying.
Okay, okay, a tree is a computer. That's a very general story.
But deliberate or not doesn't matter,
we're
because
kind of breaking it. This is like a side conversation.
Deliberate or not doesn't matter, because
you're kind of comparing a computer with binary. Which
I'm that me saying DNA is like binary, and then how it stores data is similar to a computer. Therefore, it could be.
Does a tree store data?
DNA is data. That's why that's 23.
Does a tree have DNA?
23andMe is a database.
Right, but does trees have DNA?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm saying.
Does a tree store data and be able to access the most relevant data?
That's why you have oak trees and birch trees.
Yep,
that's why every time you plant an oak seed, you're not going to get a birch tree.
Okay, I think the problem here is when you look at something in its smallest parts.
Yep.
It's really easy to compare.
I'm talking about the process, though. I'm talking about what I'm saying about the DNA and the binary is meat. That's like an example of how they're similar.
Because DNA and binary
not my
is
argument.
breaking something down into its smallest parts and then comparing them.
And that's how you store.
Super easy.
But that's what data is.
Super easy.
Well, we agreed that's what data is.
I mean, you can compare that microphone to me because it's broken down into atoms. But I'm not the same as a microphone.
But I know you're not, because.
But they process, data.
Yeah, but the microphone is more of a medium to process. The computer's processing the data. This is a medium to bring the data to the computer.
Right, when you look at it super literally. But when you break it down into, like what I'm saying, it's smallest parts. A microphone is made of atoms.
Yes, okay.
And I'm made of atoms.
But that's not
they're the same.
But that's
not the same.
But that's not the argument. The argument is that the process they use to get to the physical form to where you can comprehend it is the same. Why are you guys stuck on DNA and binary and deliberation?
Mm-hmm.
You brought it up.
Because that's called proof. That's called arguing. You're supposed to disprove it, not get stuck on that.
I think we need to kind of start over here.
I'm a cat. All right, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna bring it out to you guys. I'm a fucking cat.
You want to end it?
Yeah.
All right. That means yes. Thank you.